Hi folks, VM Explorer here. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about motherboard selection for my Gen 5 home lab. You know, one of the things I've noticed around doing VMware virtualization most recently is if you want to run a lot of the products, whether it be vSAN, NSX, VROps, VRA, etc., the amount of cores you need is growing. And that was one of the challenges I had with my previous generation was I had single Xeon E3 processors, but they were only 4 cores. Not to mention they had DDR4 memory, which was pretty pricey, and it became quite expensive. But recently there have been some new developments, a couple things. First off, Xeon processors like the original generation and the V2 E5 processors have dramatically plummeted in price. And when I say dramatically, I mean you can get 8 cores of a V2 E5 processor, Xeon, for right around $25 to $35. And that's a great value with 8 cores in it, and you're doing some virtualization. And then you pair that with DDR3 memory, which is also plummeted in price, and now you've got a cost-effective workstation. And what trend is happening is that a lot of the Chinese, and as you can see, that this is all Chinese writing on this system board. This is the Jinsha X79 system board. It's a dual Xeon system board, right? I've actually installed this board. I have ESXi up and running on it, and so far it's been relatively stable for me. It hasn't given me any trouble. But I want to go over why I chose this board and a little bit of some of the issues I've run into. So first off, don't expect anything when you order this board or any X79 system board. You can also look up X99 system boards. Those are the V3 and up processors, and they'll make these boards. The good news is these boards, my X79 system board delivered was only about $85 for a dual processor system board running DDR3. That's not a bad deal at all. They've got a bunch of them in single processors as well if you want, but I really wanted double processors so that I could actually, have a lot of cores. So here we are, we're looking at inside the board. Let me go ahead and pull it out. Now it doesn't come shipped this way, of course. I pulled a lot of this out. Let's go ahead and lay it out here. There we go. All right, so as you can see, we've got processor 1 and 2 here. We've got a memory bank here and there. Okay, this poses some initial problems right out of the gate. So first off, one of the issues we have is we've got some PCIe 1 slots here, which is nice. We've got an X16 going to one CPU and an X16 going to the other CPU. Not too bad. We've got an M2 slot, which is nice. We've got Intel-based chipset as well, helping to run the system board. AMI BIOS is what's came up for me. We've got dual NIC in the back, though it's Realtek. Not too fond of that, but it'll do its job. And then we've got an array of various USB ports and a standard PS2 port. So nothing super crazy here. Some audio ports in the back. Nothing really to draw too much attention to. The power supply here and dual power for the processors. This processor here power and this processor here power. So keep that in mind when you're looking at your power supply selection. You need to have a power supply that has dual CPU power, or you need to have some sort of splitter or another option to actually supply dual CPU power. Okay, so one of the issues I had mounting it to the case it's an extended ATX system board. Now, a standard ATX will only go 3 holes back. This one goes 4 holes back. Okay, though the case supports ATX system boards, it doesn't have mounting posts for this 4th hole. That posed a little bit of a problem for me. I needed to just buy some plastic stands to make sure this is supported, especially when you're trying to plug in this guy right here. It puts a lot of pressure down on that area and can cause the system board to buckle a pinch. Also, as we come back on these holes here, as we start working back, there should be holes right in this section, but as you can see, the RAM chips are in the way, so there are no holes here in this area, which would be right about there. Okay, so no holes at all. And the case didn't allow for these 2 posts right there. So I've had to put plastic tabs here, there, to give the board good support. And you're going to need to do that. Lifting up this board with the 2 processors and the RAMs in, you can actually see the weight of the board start to sink down a little bit. Not that it's a poor quality board, it's a lot of weight. You know, now you're going to add in big heat sinks, a lot of memory, it starts to put weight on the board. Make sure you properly support your board, and I did. Now, the other challenge about this board, besides where the hole placements are and the overall weight, was these PCIe 1 slots. As you maybe realized or not, but there's no video ports back here. I can deal with that. I really don't need extreme video for my servers, right? I just need a standard video card. And in fact, I don't want to take up one of these X16s. I want to use these guys for drives and for 10 gig Ethernet, right? I don't exactly want to use up my M2 slot for video. So I'm really stuck with these PCIe 1 slots. The problem is that the length of cards you can get in a PCIe 1 runs right into the memory. Now you can find some smaller ones that will fit in this area, you know, and gives you standard video for ESXi, right? But the problem is that they're super, they're crazy expensive. I couldn't find a cost-effective one. I did find this card here. It's a PCIe 1 card, right? But it's a little bit longer, and it was only like $9 on eBay. That's all I need. Just simple video, nothing too crazy. I wish I could get it in a smaller form factor, but I couldn't. And here, let me show you what the problem is here. As I get the card into place, you can see right there, it's starting to lay on the memory boards, right? So you really need to get it in that 120 millimeter area of a card, right? Somewhere in that range, and it'll fit. If you can find one cheap, great. I couldn't, and I kind of had to do some, use a bit mining board. So basically what I did is I have a little board that plugs in here. There's a USB cable that comes around. Then there's a X16 slot that I plug the card in. And the case that I bought on the other video, if you notice, had vertical mounts, and I could put the video card up there. It worked out pretty well, and it only cost me about $4 for the X16 extender and $9 for the card. So for $15 for video, that's not such a bad deal, right? It's pretty cheap to add it to ESXi, and I don't need extreme video. I just need it to display video once in a while. So other than that, pretty good system board. Don't get too wrapped up in the details. You know, like it doesn't have a lot of SATA 3 ports. It only has 2, right? Most of them are SATA 2. I really don't need that for ESXi. That's why I have my IBM 5210 disk controller card. Sorry. Other than that, what comes in the box, you get your standard back plate here. You know, you get a SATA cable they give you, 2 mounts for your actual processors. So these rings go here like this. They fit on there, and you can put in your heat sinks, and they give you some heatsink bolts. There's also a manual in here. It's all in Chinese. You might need it to figure out some of the ports. There's a few words of English there. I've been making boards since the 80s, so I didn't have our custom systems since the 80s. Didn't have a real problem figuring it out. Was able to do all the connectors. They all lined up really nice in the case, and they all fit pretty good. So, folks, that's the system board I'm running. I hope this helps you out a little bit, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. Thank you.